This video I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorite books just ever, and I filmed this video once already, so I hope that it's not like a lot worse the second time, which might very well happen because it's been a long time since I wrote these notes. When the job's done, he smacks me on the shoulder and we run off like handsome thieves. We both laugh and run, and the moment is so thick around me that I feel like dropping into it to let it carry me. I'm the Messenger by Marcus Zuzak. This is the same author as The Book Thief, and it's about Ed Kennedy, who is an underage cab driver. One day after he accidentally stops a bank robbery, he gets a playing card in the mail with 3 addresses on it, and he becomes the messenger. I got this book when I was in St. Paul with my parents at my first half-price books experience, and it was totally spontaneous, not only to like buy the book but to go into half-price books in the first place. We were going out to dinner or something and I saw it on the side of the road and I was like, hey, let's stop there, and we did, and it was just such a fantastic decision. This book is really important to me because it reflects a lot of my views, and it shaped a lot of my views on just people and how to treat people. It talks a lot about how beautiful people are just in what they are, not in looks or anything. And it's the first book I've seen carry that idea so clearly for me. The first thing you find out when your dog learns to talk is that dogs don't got nothing much to say about anything. The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This book takes place on a different planet in a religious settlement that doesn't have any women. Not only is there no women, but all of the men can hear each other's thoughts. In this little society in the book, there's a lot of pressure on being a man, and as soon as a boy turns 13, he is considered a man by all of his elders. Our story centers around Todd, who is a 12-year-old boy when we meet him at the beginning, and he is the last boy in the settlement to become a man. This is the first book that like actually literally had me stay up all night to read it. I do not read well sitting in one place for hours at a time. I read better reading throughout the day, like when teachers are passing assignments back or in between classes or lunch or whatever. But I actually sat down for several hours at a time and just read basically straight through the second half of this novel. This book isn't as important to me like on a spiritual aspect as I Am the Messenger, but it's honestly one of the best written YA books I've read ever, and one of the best written books I've read ever, period. And the way that the story is just woven together is so deft and so amazing, and it's just such a great book. I can't even describe how much I love it. And when she answered me, I realized the importance of curves. Of the 1,000 places where girls' bodies ease from one place to another, from arc of the foot to ankle to calf, from calf to hip to waist to breast to neck to ski slope nose to forehead to shoulder to the concave arc of the back to the butt to the etc. I had noticed curves before, of course, but I never quite apprehended their significance. Looking for Alaska by John Green. For those of you who somehow don't know, John Green is one half of the vlogging brother duo, the Vlog Brothers, and he's been making videos for a couple of years now, and I've been watching them for about 3. As soon as I found out John was an author, I went out and I rented this book from the public library. Pudge is a teenage boy who goes to an Alabama boarding school and quickly makes a small group of friends and falls in love with the elusive Alaska Young. I really need to reread this novel. It's been a couple of years since I last read it. I don't really remember that much about it, but I remember that it was my first like contemporary novel, and it was the first book that really like had me thinking in like themes and that kind of thing, and it talks a lot about like what happens when you fall in love with an idealized version of a person and don't fall in love with the actual version of that person, and that's a gross simplification. This book is just amazing though. I still remember some of the passages from it. He looked so strange and different because a pink glow of color had actually crept all over him, ivory face and neck and hands and all. I shall get well, he cried out. Mary, Dickon, I shall get well, and I shall live forever and ever and ever. The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I first read this story around 7-ish, and it was my first, like, classic children's novel, and it led me to books such as Little Women, Anne of Green Gables, and The Little Princess. It's about orphan 10-year-old Mary Lennox who goes to live with her uncle on the dreary moors of England. This book, okay, this is going to sound so weird, but this book is just, it's realistic, but the story in itself is just so magical, and every time I read it, it just makes me believe in the magic of spring. When Harry pulled back his sheets, he found his invisibility cloak folded neatly underneath them. There was a note pinned to it, just in case. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Obviously, I couldn't make a favorite books list without including this one. I read this book for the first time when I was about 6 years old. My mom read the first 2 books to me, like out loud to me, and I would peek over her shoulder and look at the pages as she was reading, and then between first and second grade, I believe, in that summer, I just had read them both, all by myself. And before that, I was having a lot of trouble reading, and I didn't like reading, and I was going to be in remedial reading classes. By the time second grade started, I was, like, ahead of my grade level. This book is important to me for so many reasons. Obviously, it taught me how to read, and it got me into really just a love of reading and a love of stories. It led me to the internet, which led me to a lot of really, really good friends. The series still teaches me things, too. I still talk about it with my friends. I still read it. I still think about it, and I still keep learning lessons from Harry and Ron and Hermione and everyone. This series didn't change my life so much as it just shaped all of it. I'm forever, forever indebted to J.K. Rowling.